So the central objective of the Play in the Making project is to investigate how making games might be a productive way to engage children and families in the process of design thinking, with the broader goal of cultivating their capacities to engage in design thinking and their identities as designers across a much wider range of life activities. I'm collaborating with Dr. Sinem Siyahan, who is an associate professor at Cal State San Marcos. With this project, we were inspired by the current interest in making and maker education, which has become popular across both schools, libraries, and other sorts of informal learning situations. We felt that game making, as a particular form of making, offered some real advantages for engaging children in complex problem solving and thinking about the design both of physical artifacts and of people's experiences in a way that perhaps other kinds of making did not quite achieve. Our project team spent the last few years developing and testing what we call game design challenges that typically consist of a goal, a target audience, and a predetermined set of materials. A design challenge might be create a board game to teach teenagers about the causes and solutions of water pollution. Create a card game to teach young children how to cope with the fear of the dark. Here in Arizona, we partnered with the Phoenix Public Library staff to offer game design workshops at various sites throughout the Phoenix area. Our participants varied quite a bit in age, from elementary school students on through high school students. Parents often participated with some of the younger children in our workshops. The kinds of games created by the participants were very diverse, engaging, and often very complex. One aspect of the design process that really seemed to stand out for participants was the idea of adopting the viewpoint or perspective of the potential players. For many of them, even the quite youngest participants, that was a real change in perspective, to have to think not just about what they found to be fun or interesting, but what their potential players might also enjoy. I feel like we're only beginning to understand the many ways in which game design can be used to cultivate designerly ways of thinking. As I mentioned earlier, game design is a very complex process with a lot of different facets, and it's been exciting to see the kinds of ways that children and their parents have taken to game design and created some really interesting artifacts. Our major goal now is to figure out what they're actually learning from the experience and to be able to extend that experience into other areas. I often think back to the words of one young woman who I worked with, who told me once, "I began this work with an interest in designing games or making better games. Now my goal is to make the world a better place." That's a goal that I would hope for all of our participants.